Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I have another competitive video. This was something I said I'd do a week or two ago, and it got met with a lot of good responses, and people wanted me to do the vid, so I figured I'd just get it done. I'm gonna be going over the Sun and Moon OU viability ranking and basically giving my own opinions, my own tiers 2 to these Pokemon, because I feel like I might have some different opinions on the viability ranks. And basically, since the generation's ending soon, I just kind of want to go over, all the Pokemon, kind of reflect on how they were in the metagame, how I feel they are now, if they're deserving of their rank, etc, etc. So let's just hop right into it. There's a lot of Pokemon here. So let's start with S rank. We got Greninja, Ash, Heatran, Landers, T, and Magearna. I would agree that these are the 4 best Pokemon, but I do not think that Heatran is as good as the other 3. That's how I feel. I do like Heatran a lot. I think Heatran peaked like last year in terms of viability, back when everyone was running that Z Steel. Like, yeah, I would say back when Z Steel was every Heatran. Nowadays, you don't see Z Steel as much. It's kind of slowed down. I don't know why. It's still pretty good, but Z Steel, lots of modest Z Steel Heatran back then. I remember even I used that in Smogon Tour Finals, and it really paid off for me. But then I remember like the whole second half of 2018, there was so much Z Heatran, and back then I was like, oh my god, Heatran's broken, because it would truly always get at least 1 kill, which is like really hard to deal with, in any metagame. So yeah, Heatran was always securing at least 1 kill, and it was just tough in general to deal with. Nowadays, they're more defensive, is what I'm seeing. You see Z move now and then, but for the most part, it's like Magma Storm leftovers, or even like Spadef, Lava Plume. And I don't think it's as threatening as Greninja, Landers, T, and Magearna. Also, teams in general are just better suited to deal with Heatran. I see a lot of Garchomps nowadays, which is because it's become one of the premier rockers and stuff like that. There's so many Torns which have knockoffs, so even the Spadef version gets whittled pretty quick. And just in general, a lot of the offensive threats are like able to deal with Heatran pretty easily. Like you can see in S rank, all these 3 things can beat Heatran pretty easily. Landers T kills it, Greninja beats it, and then Magearna, if it's Focus Blast, can also beat Heatran. So in my opinion, I don't think Heatran is on the same level as the other 3. However, it's still amazing. I do think that these are the 4 best Pokemon in the metagame, absolutely, for sure. That's no debate for me. But yeah, Landers T is, GOAT, probably top 2 with Magearna. I think Gren's behind both of them. Gren's really good, just because like classic specs Ash Gren with spikes as the last move is such an annoying Pokemon to deal with. It's so crazy how that Pokemon's set. You just know what it's gonna be, and it's still such a nuisance to deal with off just like Hydro, Water Shuriken, and Dark Pulse, which are 3 like perfect moves for it to have, and then spikes because it causes so many switches. Gren's like near perfect. The only reason it's below these 2 is because it definitely does have some problem breaking some teams. Stall, for example, but even Stall it can break because it can spike on the switch and then double and stuff like that. Grenier is almost threatening to every play style, but there are times when it's pretty limited, like if you're playing Spadef Pex or AV Tangrowth, stuff like that. Like, but even then you can always kind of force a situation with spikes and stuff like that, which has a pretty deserving of S rank as an offensive threat to me. Landers T has way too many sets: Scarf, defensive, different berry, Z move, like 3 different Z moves where it can run. Like it's really nice. Landers T, I used all different types in SPL. I used a Custat Berry Landers T, I used a Scarf Landers T, I used a defensive Landers T, I used what's it called, Double Dance Landers T. Like, I love Landers T. Shoutouts. Magearna, AV is still an amazing Pokemon for offense to run to deal with broken stuff like Alakazam. And then Shift Gear and all that is amazing as well. So all these guys are very deserving of their positions. I think Magearna is like nearly the best. I think Lando might be better all around, but I think Mag has broken potential. Like, I think Mag could be considered broken. Like, I wouldn't be bored with a Magearna suspect test. I think that would be fine. But let's move on to A rank. So these are the Pokemon in A rank. For me, I rank Tornadus at the top. Tornadus and Kartana probably. Tornadus is the most annoying Pokemon in the metagame for sure. It has made it so easy to remove hazards in SM, it's not even funny. And defog in general is just super prevalent because Landers is also the GOAT, and Landers and Torn can just run defog and just like, spam that. But anyway, yeah, Torn is the reason defog has become so prevalent in the metagame. And it's just on every single team. It's very good at checking a lot of Pokemon. It checks Scarf Landers T, it checks Kartana, stuff like that. Like, it has Taunt, so it can shut down fatter stuff as well. Knock off U-Turn Regenerator. It's just a real tough nuisance to deal with. And it's crazy how that thing rose to the top so easily as well. But yeah, I'd put Torn and Kartana at the top. Kartana, I'm no stranger to Kartana, man. This thing has just taken off since the beginning of the gen. Like, it started off slow, and then it just like gets better and better and better with every meta shift to me. But yeah, Cart's at the top of A rank for me for sure. I don't even use Banded that much. I use SD and Scarf the most, which I think are enough for me. Banded is a cool breaker, but I feel like I'd rather just SD and like guarantee a kill. Because like if you run Banded, like if you run into something like Scizor, you're still screwed. Like you're still not gonna break Scizor, unless you make a bunch of doubles and have rocks up and shit like that, or you have like a Magna Zone. But with SD, you know, you can just SD, Z-Giga Impact, knock out stuff like Tornadus, Zapdos, Tangrowth, stuff that would originally counter you. And so it's pretty nice in that sense. But yeah, Scarf is one of the easiest win cons, like, in Pokemon history for a Scarfer. It's like the most powerful Scarfer ever. So I got a lot of love for Scarf Cart. Garchomp is something I still don't use too much. I'm not even that sold on Garchomp personally. I don't like it, but that's like a personal gripe. I think it's a good Pokemon. I just don't like using it. I don't really like the feel of it, and it's not my preferred Stealth Rocker for the most part. I'd put it in A rank personally if I was ranking it for the Pokemon that I like. I don't think it's as good as any of these Pokemon. But it has its place in the metagame because it's one of the only good Stealth Rockers that's a ground type besides Landorus T. Because if you run a Hippo or some shit, you're kind of forcing yourself to run fat. And Excadrill is slower than Garchomp and has a whole lot of other problems that Garchomp doesn't have. So I get it. And Garchomp with the Z move is obviously a big threat as well. So it makes sense why it's up here. Personally, I just don't like using it as much. Ferrothorn. Yeah, Ferrothorn's a champion. One of the few offensive checks to Ash Greninja. Or regular Greninja more so, but it like stops the thing from evolving is what I'm trying to say. Spikes are insane in this metagame. Ferrothorn's also able to shut down defoggers like Tapu Fini and a lot of Tornadus if they're Rocky Helmet with the combination of Gyro and Power Whip. And in general, Ferrothorn's really hard to switch into, which is why it's just good on A+. Zam, everyone knows I'm so terrified of Zam, and you'd think like, oh, he didn't put it at the top of A+ rank, even though he's always talking like, Alakazam is so broken, etc, etc. Zam's good, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it's as good as the other ones, and there are some matchups where you're like, man, Zam is not doing nothing this game, specifically versus Celestina, Magearna, stuff like that, like, you know, Stall in general. But you can always force a win, you know, by playing out of your mind, but Zam's not the ideal Pokemon. Like, you could have an easier Pokemon versus some of those matchups, you know what I'm saying? So I think Alakazam, while it is deserving of A+ rank, just because it's still such a menace for some bulky offense teams. Like, if you run into a team that's like Greninja, Heatran, Landorus, you know, that team is going to get messed up by Alakazam. But if they have like just a slight thing like Avi Magearna to take on Zam, it's pretty easy. But again, you can always circumvent it with hazards and stuff like that. So Zam on its own is pretty self-sufficient. We can keep him in A+ rank. Mawile, yeah, I mean, it's one of the strongest Pokemon in the tier. Makes sense why it's up here. The attack is like obscene. Mawile, not a Pokemon I also don't really use too much. I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, it's amazing for sure. But I don't know. I prefer using Cart if I'm going to use offensive Steel type most of the time. The bulk is really nice with Mawile though. Intimidate is really, really nice. And Swords Dance, Sucker Punch has amazing sweeping potential. So Mawile, actually, no, Mawile I do like. I'd keep it in here for sure. Probably in the top half. And then Pex. Pex is eternal. I think Pex was bad a couple months ago for real. You know, I only used one Pex in my like 9 SM games in SPL. I only used one Pex and it barely did anything. I always used a different water type. I always used like Gren, or I used Tapu Fini or something like that. I never used Pex because I thought Pex was bad. I was like, Pex saps momentum and everything's over prepped for Pex. I don't want to use it. So I just didn't use it. But now I feel Pex has gotten a lot better in recent, maybe like the last 2 months. It's just, I don't know, it's like really good again. It's really hard to deal with. T-Spikes and Toxic are both really, really hard to manage and stuff like that. And it's still like teams are really hard pressed to switch into this guy. That's probably why I value Alakazam so much, because it's an offensive Pokemon that can switch into Pex and threaten it out, which is like so rare. How many offensive Pokemon can come in on the risk of Toxic, Burn, all that shit, and again force Pex out? Usually it's only ground types which can't switch into Scald, or it's like electric types, which who are the electric types? Like Coco? Yeah, but you know, it's Zam is much better, which is why I really like Zam. Alright, but I guess I was trying to talk about Toxapex. But yeah, Pex is good. Pex is eternal. This shit can never be bad. It just got better, I guess. I would have put it in A rank a couple months ago, but it's good in A+ right now. So now A rank, all these guys. Celestina is another Pokemon I would have had in like A+ like a year or something ago. I used to think Celestina was god. I used to think I was like undefeated, but like I used to think I was unstoppable with Celestina. I don't think I even used a Celestina in SM this season either, because again, it was a Pokemon to me that had just started losing me too much momentum. People were really running AV Tangrowths, lots of Heatran. I was like, fuck that, I don't want to run Celesteela, because again, AV Tang also invalidates Celesteela, because they just knock it off, and then your Celesteela is screwed without leftovers for the most part. So yeah, Celesteela, it's cool, but in my opinion, I don't even like it in... Actually, maybe it's good in A rank. I don't know. I would even consider putting it A minus, because yeah, it can switch into stuff like Tapu Lele, Zam a couple times, blah 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 blah. But if they have a Pokemon that is able to switch into Leech Seed, like your Celesteela is useless. Like it's never recovering any HP, so it's not able to long term check these things, and so that's a problem I have with it, honestly. Some matchups it's like insane because people's teams are trash and like they just can't switch into Heavy Slam, Leech Seed, Flamethrower, or they lose. But there's also the fact that Rotom's usage has been sky high lately, and that completely invalidates Celesteela as well. So I'm not big on Celes right now. I don't think it's as good as it was. It's still always annoying to play, don't get me wrong. It's always going to be one of the most annoying Pokemon to play, but I'm not as gassed up on it as I once was. Okay, Protean Gren A. I agree with this. It could be A+, depending on the day. I think the best set is the one that utilizes Z-Dig. You just hit the most targets with Z-Dig, I feel, and the ability to Oko Pex and Magearna is amazing. It's not even that you're just like luring Pex so you're not walled with Greninja. Just the idea of killing Toxapex is so good for a team. There's no team that likes running into Toxapex for the most part. You could have a good matchup versus it, but it's still annoying that it's alive because it will stall out the game, it'll risk status on your Pokemon, etc, etc. It's tough. So just in general, being able to Oko Toxapex probably improves any player's like matchup, like on the spot. So I think Z-Dig in that sense is really good. It also just, again, it just covers a lot of stuff. Magearna, it also Okos opposing Greninja, which is big. It's a strong ground type move, which is just nice neutral coverage for the most part. So I like Protean Gren. I always use Z-Dig. The other set I had used was Hydro, Ice Beam, HP Fire, Spike at Water MZ. That set's also really good. Maybe not as good though because Rotom's everywhere now. And that's the same problem with Z-Dig. Rotom is everywhere. I need to try HP Grass Gren because Rotom is like being used crazy. Same with Feeny. Hold up, I might have just did something. I might have to try that out. But yeah, Gren's timeless, man. Scarf Gren is also really good. Yeah, belongs in here for sure. Latias Mega. I don't use this Pokemon that much. I prefer Latios Mega. So yeah, I don't use this Pokemon that much. I mean, Calm Mind is good. I've been swept by Calm Mind a couple of times because there's some matchups where Calm Mind is just unbeatable. Like it just walls your whole team. Like if you play a team and it's like Landorus, Magearna, Rotom, Kartana, you know, like that standard type of Voltron offense, a lot of the time that team can't even kill Latias. Like if it Calm Minds, because their counters like AV Magearna, and at +1 Flare Cannon does like 50%, and they just heal it all off, so you just lose to like stored power. And like same with Greninja, that shit can't kill you either, because it's pretty weak, and Latias is like unholy Spadef. With boosts on it, you just can't break it on the special side whatsoever, and even the physical side is really hard. Like Garchomp and stuff that doesn't run Outrage, it only runs like Z-Rock. That thing has trouble taking on Latias. One of the scariest sets I've run into is the Calm Mind Bolt Beam Recover set, just like classic that. Like it's really hard for me to beat if I don't have a Dark type or something. So I understand Latias in A rank. It has a good matchup. It's like a good matchup Pokemon. Like it has like amazing matchups a lot of the time if you don't have like a designated counter. So I can respect it in that sense. Magnezone, yeah, Mag will always be good because you just trap Ferrothorn and Scarf Cart, which are like insane to deal with. Trapping Ferrothorn is really blessed. Also, dealing with Cart, who's almost nearly broken, is really nice as well. People be running Sub to take on Mawile, stuff like that. I don't gotta say much about Magnezone. It belongs here just because it gets rid of annoying Pokemon. And even as a Pokemon itself, I'm like a fan of it. Like I used to think like, you know, Mag is trash. It's just a trapper Pokemon, but in like its stabs alone are pretty decent. So I like that Pokemon. Metachem's good. You know, the perfect coverage around everything. Only really sucks if you run into like Sableye or Reuniclus or some shit like that. But in general, I think Metachem should always get like 2 kills in your average battle, which is why it's good here. I think it's probably an A rank over like A+ because it does require some plays. If you get outplayed with Metachem, it can get really frustrating. But in the hands of a good player, I think Metachem is more like an A+ Pokemon easily. Or like not a good player, but a player that will play like pretty aggressively with Metachem, like not afraid to like pull trigger and make predictions and shit. Metachem is more of an A+ mon. Because I can understand why it's an A, just because like people can pivot around like Toxapex, Landorus, Helmet, Tangrowth, etc, etc. You could maybe not get kills, but if you click in the right triggers, Metachem is crazy. I guess that's true for like a lot of Pokemon. Oh, if you click the right button on the Switch, it works. But it's obviously more accentuated with Metachamp because the shit's attack is like out of this world, and it is HJK. Rotom Wash, big on Rotom Wash. This thing could even have been A rank to me, honestly. This thing is so annoying to deal with. It's probably the most annoying Pokemon to deal with in the metagame for me right now. Volt Switch, Hydro, whatever, basic ass moves. But the coverage is great. The coverage is great, especially alongside Will-O-Wisp and Pain Split. I don't even run Defog on mine. I just run the regular set, which is 2 attack, Wisp, Pain Split, or T-Wave. T-Wave, again, is really annoying because they're able to paralyze Greninja, Heatran, Landorus, Alakazam. Nothing likes taking a para. Obviously, there are things you'd rather burn more than para, such as Ferrothorn and Toxapex. You'd rather burn those, obviously. But everything else, nothing wants to switch into T-Wave, man. On top of that, Rotom checks the other most annoying Pokemon in the tier, which is Tornadus T, which is really nice. So at least Rotom is able to check that nuisance. But Rotom in general, really excellent Pokemon. I only used it once in SPL, but it did great the game I used it. I personally used Iapapa Berry. I used Iapapa with Defog. Yeah. Iapapa is the one you use with Defog. And then you run leftovers on Pain Split. But yeah, Rotom Wash. Really, I have no complaints with that thing. It's a menace. Tapu Bulu, I'm not big on Bulu. I've never been big on Bulu, though. Yeah, I still think SD sucks. Like, I still think that it can be good. SD Protect is decent. SD Protect is decent. I'll give it that. But in a metagame of so much Torn, Kartana, Mawile, Heatran, like Z-Mag, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't trust it as much. I think Assault Vest is absolutely garbage. I think SD Protect is the only viable set for sure. Everything else I think sucks shit. Like, it's just trash. Scarf and Band are maybe decent. Band has the potential to have like godlike matchup, especially if you have Magnezone to deal with like Scizor, Celestina. But I don't know. Bulu is not a mon that I really like that much. Again, there are some matchups where Bulu like really goes off, but then there are other matchups like versus like simple offensive teams where you're like, man, I'm just switching my Bulu into offensive moves and then it can't even do any damage because the guy has Mawile or Torn or Heatran and I can't let those things in. That's how I feel a lot of the time. And also when I use AV Tapu Bulu, I just feel, damn, I wish I had Tangrowth instead. So that's my opinions on Bulu. I'm not with this mon. I think this shit could easily be A- or even B+ for me. Feeny, used to be the biggest Feeny fan. Now I think the metagame has adapted to it a lot better. So I think it's fine in A rank. Could even be A-. Coco's so fire. Amazing Pokemon. Oh shit, my bad. Coco's an amazing Pokemon. One of the best. It can't hang in A+ rank. Just because it's not as strong as any of these guys. But Coco has like hidden good bulk and stuff like that, which makes it a pretty nice Pokemon to use. Like its Fizz Def is good, access to Roost is nice, Electric Terrain's cool because it can partner up. It's really, I mean, it's amazing on offense too because of dual screens, and it also powers up Hawlucha. I think Coco's one of the greatest offensive Pokemon ever. Like, and I think every offensive geared team, like not bulky offense, but like more like heavy offense to like maybe not all the way heavy, but just like more offensive than a classic like Volt turn bulky offense. I think Coco's a staple on almost all these teams. It's a necessity in screens too, unless you run Electrode, I guess. But I still think Coco's better. Yeah, Coco in general, big fan of. The speed's great, good support, good offensive options. In general, it's a great Pokemon. Lele, I used to not like Lele a lot. I'd say last year, but now I'm really into it. I think it's amazing. I don't know if it's as good as I thought it was a couple months ago, but actually no, it's still pretty good because like I don't run any sets. I don't run Scarf. I only run Specs, Z, and AV. Specs because even Specs I don't like that much. I like AV and Z move the most. I like switching up moves because Psychic HP Fire Moonblast or Psychic Focus Blast Moonblast can basically destroy everything in the tier besides like Celestina and Scizor, but you can just Nature's Madness those if you're AV, and if you're Specs, you're already 2 KOing those. If you have like Leech switching for Celestina, etc., etc. Basically, what I'm trying to say is Lele in general is always going to be one of the best breakers. Big fan of that Pokemon. It belongs here. T-Tar Mega in A rank is interesting. I didn't think of that. I didn't think I'd see it here, or I just didn't expect to see it here. But yeah, that shit's good. Gets really good rocks up. I don't use DD that much, and I don't think DD is as threatening as the other sets probably. But bulky Stealth Rock is an amazing set. And then Volk will always be good. It'll always have nearly perfect matchup versus a lot of teams, or a very easy matchup provided you just chip the opponent's team a little bit. Some matchups it's useless like Stall, but in general Volk's good here because it invalidates a lot of bulky offense builds and forces you to run bad Scarfers. So let's go to A-. We got all the ugly Pokemon here. Okay, Chansey, Clef. Yeah, okay, I don't think Clef's good, but Chansey's okay. It can belong here. Drill is really good on sand. I would never use it on any other team, but on sand it's great. Amazing offensive threat. But I guess it does need sand support, which is why it's an A-. It it's a team that forces a particular build. Gliscor, I haven't used Gliscor enough. However, actually no, I have used Gliscor a decent amount. I don't think Gliscor is good. I think SD Gliscor has an extremely hard time even, like, it sweeps like very few teams. It even kills like 2 or 3 mons on very, very few teams. You need to face a team that's like extraordinarily weak, like a team that has HP Ice Landorus as the only Gliscor counter, which is rare because just Gliscor, it's just easier to deal with stuff like Gliscor now because Pokemon are stronger. I just don't think it's that good. It could even be B rank to me, honestly, because I don't think it's better than shit like Charizard X or Diancie or any of those that are down here. So, but we'll get to that later. Kyurem B, I only think Z-move is good. And it is pretty good. It always gets a kill for the most part, unless again you run into like a diehard counter like Scizor, but even then you can get around it. Pelipper, I mean, for Rain, so yeah, Rain's great, so it's worthy of its rank. Reuniclus, sometimes it's good, but sometimes I feel like it's just giving the opponent too much momentum if you're playing too offensive of a team, and it can just get you kind of shot in the foot playing on the back foot. Scizor, again, another on and off Pokemon, and the rise of Magnezone has made me respect this Pokemon less. A couple months ago, I would have told you A because I thought the thing was amazing, and it is one of the only Pokemon that counters Kartana, which is really, really huge. So I think it's good at A-. Depending on the day, though, it can even be A rank, seriously. Swampert Mega, I'd put this thing in A rank, not A-. This thing is a menace, seriously. This thing is as good as all of these Pokemon offensively. Like, it's as good as Medicham offensively when the rain's up. Swampert's an absolute menace to switch into. Hate this shit playing against it. Tangrowth, Tyranitar's Zapdos. I had these all on the team once. Tangrowth, amazing Pokemon to me. Could easily be A rank as well. I guess they took it out just because, well, I mean, it beats most of these Pokemon, so I don't know why it's not in A rank with them. And it beats a lot of these guys too. Like, it's a good Alakazam switching and a card switching. Like, think of like a Pokemon that can switch into both of those Pokemon. Like that's crazy. That's why Celestina is so good as well, because these are 2 Pokemon that hit extremely hard from both sides, special and physical, Cart and Alakazam, right? And so if you have one Pokemon that can switch into both of those, that's like insane. So Tang definitely should be an A rank if you ask me. I think it's really, really good at sticking around. It can also take on Swampert, just grounds in general. In general, Tangrowth's amazing. T-Tar, yeah, I mean, the only regular Tars I've ever used are when I'm running Excadrill, because I like putting Smooth Rock on it. It's okay. I don't think Tar is actually really that good when it's regular. Maybe Banded is decent, but I haven't tried it. Zapdos is good in A-. It's really annoying to deal with, but sometimes it's useless, so A- is good. B rank. Okay, I think Charizard should be A-. It's really good. I don't know why it's in B+. It's better than almost all this shit, if you ask me. Besides Swampert and Tang, I think Charizard's better than all of them, and it's maybe tied with Scizor. It's just an easy mod to set up with, and it's really good. Like that, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's really hard to not get at least 1 or 2 kills with this thing, because it gets pretty easy dragon dances on the metagame. There are a lot of bulky Pokemon that can't really deal with this. Like AV Magearna, for example, gives this thing a free setup. Rotom, if it's not T-Wave, gives this thing a free setup. Tornadus T, if it's not Taunt. Hurricane's not doing shit, stuff like that. Zapdos, if it doesn't discharge Para. Tangrowth gives it, it sets up on a lot of shit. So I don't really understand why it's this low. I would put this shit in A- any day. Diancie's questionable. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, but I think it could be A- as well. The coverage it has with Moonblast Earth Power is really good for the current meta. And some offensive teams have such a hard time switching into it. Diancie also gives the whole Mind Games thing with Magic Bounce, which I think is really, really good too, depending on what type of player you are. So I put it in A-. Heracross, always thought Heracross was bad. Keep Heracross in B+. You could even put this shit in B, because I don't think it's as good as any of the other Pokemon listed here. I'd put this thing in B. Jirachi, I've used both Spadef and Scarf. They're both pretty good. Yeah, it's good in B+. There's not much to say about Jirachi. It's always playing support, right? Spadef is supposed to Wish Pass and just switch into Lele, and Scarf is literally supposed to do the same thing except keep up offensive coverage, offensive momentum, and then also have Healing Wish. So it's like the same thing. They both play support. One is just slower than the other, but yeah, Jirachi's good in B+. I think it's great. Latios Mega at B+ was ridiculous to me. What? No, I think this is stupid. I think it's better than everything in A-, if you ask me. I think it should be an A rank, seriously. I think this thing is amazing. I don't know how Latios can be an A rank and Latios Mega is in B+. That's so stupid. Mega Latios is amazing if you ask me. Psychic is the only move that I think is mandatory. Psychic, Earthquake, and then you can run whatever else. I don't think you need Draco. You need Draco to hit other Latios and whatever. Just don't be weak to Lati. And Gren gets 2-hit kill by Earthquake, so it's whatever. But yeah, I run Psychic, Earthquake, and then I run HP Fire a lot of the time to deal with Ferrothorn, but you can run Ice Beam, you can run Draco too, it doesn't matter. But I think yeah, Latios Mega and B plus is just stupid. I think that thing is amazing. It's able to chip so many teams, and it's able to 6-0 so many teams as well. That thing has a really great combination of bulk, speed, and incredible power. Yeah, that thing is nasty. Like, look at this A rank. What if A rank ran into Psychic, HP Fire, Earthquake? And I'm only saying HP Fire because I run that specifically for Ferrothorn. If Ferrothorn wasn't here, simple Psychic, Earthquake would just sweep this whole like column. You know what I mean? Same with S rank. They all get smashed by it too. Like Mega Latios and B plus, I don't understand that at all. That shit would be an A rank if I was ranking this. Amoonguss. Okay, I've tried to make Amoonguss work a lot of times, and I used to always think like this shit's probably decent, but I don't think it's that good. Surprisingly enough, I think its best set is Assault Vest with Stomping Tantrum and all that. Yeah, I think the AV set is the best one personally. So yeah, because at least on ladder when I played AV, it's given me the most trouble. But Amoonguss in general is kind of mid. Oh shit, I forgot to go over these three. Lopunny, really good, really good versus a lot of these offensive teams. I don't think this thing belongs in B plus either. I think it belongs in A minus, not A. Maybe not A. I don't even know, man. I think it could be an A. Lopunny's really good. Even though its coverage is just returning HJK, that coverage is really good. Unless you play like a defensive Landorus T or a Hippo, okay, for the most part, you should be breaking pretty well. Like, if you play a team that's like Tornadus, Garchomp, Fire, Water, Grass, and then like a Magearna, let's say, like a very standard team. Like, let me go through some of my teams. Like, look at this team titled Cart right here. This team gets messed up by a well-played Lopunny with Rocks Up. Like, what am I switching into? The Chomp is Z move, it's not Helmet. So like nothing can even switch into return on this team because I'm not going to one of my steals. That's like a pretty offensive play. But you get the point. Look at Dark Me here. This team is pretty weak too. Celestina takes like 45 from HJK on the switch. These two and Lopunny of my own also all die to HJK. My Landorus' Scarf set thing gets messed up. So you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to switch into. Like, you can have your occasional Tapu Fini or whatever, but it's going to take like 35% and there's no regen. Pex is a pretty decent counter. I'll give it that. But again, you can outplay. You could even be Power Up Punch on the switch and knock Pex out. So, you know, Lopunny, I have a lot of experience with this mod. I think it's really good. I think it could be A minus, even A on a good day, but I don't think it's B plus. Sableye, it's whatever. It's not that good. Only viable on stall if you ask me, so I think it's fine here. Serp is a Pokemon that's been getting better and better. It's just really annoying because of glare. I keep it in B plus because some games it's trash. Already said Amoonguss. Gastrodon, don't like it. Think it's really hacks prone. Some matchups it's like insane, but it's not a Pokemon I ever risk, so I don't fuck with Gastrodon. Gyarados, I think Z-Move Fly is good, and I think Mega is pretty good as well, so I'll keep both of them in B rank. I'm a fan. Hawlucha is great versus offense, but there's some matchups again where it's useless. But in general, I think you can always force a position for a Hawlucha to get 1 or 2 kills. That's how I feel testing with it. Only problem is it forces you to run Coco, which forces you to run hyper offense, which is why I guess it's in B rank. But as a Pokemon alone, if you get the electric terrain up, under most conditions, I would put Hawlucha as a very high offensive threat. So just judging by the threat level it usually is, I'd even put it at A minus A. Seriously, because it's just when you just get the terrain up and like say you have rocks up, like in a stereotypical hyper offense game, because again I'm assuming we're using it on HL because that's like only where Hawlucha belongs. I always get a lot of good mileage out of it. I even brought it in SPL and it clutched me the win really nicely. So I'm a fan of Hawlucha no matter what. So I'd put this shit in like A minus A rank just based on the offensive threat it is. But I'm assuming it's in B rank because of the team style and partners it forces. Hippo. No, I hate Hippo in every generation it's in. I think it's bad, loses momentum. Actually, hold up. There's a set, it's like a fast Hippo from Mawile. That set is cool. The fast Hippo, it's like jolly, ridiculous tech that some Italians made. But it's a good set. It's not good, but it's like the only one I'd ever use. But in general, I'd never use Hippo because it's a whack Pokemon. Next, Hoopa. Yeah, Hoopa is the Pokemon that you're always like, oh shit, I'm so weak to Hoopa, or like, bro, Hoopa's so good, it's gonna get 10 kills, blah blah blah, and it never does that shit. So I don't know, I'm not big on Hoopa either. It always just seems like it's gonna go off, but then it doesn't. So I mean, there are some games where it's like, oh man, Bandit Hoopa or Specs Hoopa can go in, but I'd rather just use like Lele or something. I think Nasty Plot Hoopa is good though, but it's good in B rank. Hydreigon, I used to think Specs Hydreigon was the truth. I don't be using it as much anymore, but I think it's still probably really good. Yeah, I think it's still probably really good. Z-Move is decent, but not as good. It's just if you run into Fini, it sucks. Seriously, that's the only problem with Hydreigon. If you run into Tapu Fini, it really sucks. All the other Tapus suck because Coco gets 2-hit KO'd by Specs Pulse, Lele gets 2-hit KO'd by Specs Pulse, Tapu Bulu gets obliterated by Fire Blast. So those are fine. But if you run into Fini, it's like really annoying, and that's the only reason I don't run Hydreigon as much. But I think Specs Hydra is pretty good and probably better than all the Pokemon in this. Kingdra, only good on rain and even whatever matchup pick. you just click Spec Surf, so it's just a matchup pick. Nothing to say. Kyurem, I think Kyurem was really good before, not as good now, but still pretty good. So it's deserving of this. I only use Sub Roost, I don't use anything else. Mamo, I think it's bad. Yeah, I think it's only good versus like Lando, Jirachi, Zapdos type bulky offense. But yeah, if you don't run into that, I don't think it's as good as it could be. Mew, Z-move, I haven't used it in a while, so I can't comment on, but defensive is actually not that bad. I'm a fan of defensive still. That's a good set. It's belonging of being in here because it still gets pressured by the offensive threats, and it gives Gren free spikes, so I can't fuck with that. Suicune, it's whatever, mediocre. Venusaur, pretty good because now burn is only 6%. I think it's going to end the meta being an average pick though, and I think it's worse than almost every Pokemon in here. So only thing that's good about Venusaur is that it beats Magearna, usually, if you don't get frozen. Victini, I got a lot of respect for Victini since laddering with it, which is crazy because I always thought I hated Victini, because I did. But that Assault Vest set has really impressed me just because of the final Gambit lure, and just in general, it can keep up some good offensive momentum. And even with 0 attack, Victini is still decently strong with V-Create and Bull Strike because they're high-powered moves. So Vic is not bad here. I'd keep it here though for sure. I wouldn't put it anywhere else. I've used Bandit and Scarf Victini. I've never once been impressed. Weavile, yeah, it's sometimes good, but sometimes really bad. I would only ever use Bandit, but even then I don't think it's that good. And a Pokemon that gives Magearna free setup is bullshit to me. And it's walled by Gren, which also sucks. And it's just not strong enough in the current meta comparatively to all the other shit. So, but it's good in B because it's still able to trap Lotties and shit like that. And in some matchups, Weavile can give you like insane matchup. Like the combination of Pursuit plus Toxapex has always been undefeatable. But yeah, I've seen Weavile plus Pex before, and that's a pretty tough concept to deal with. Like my boy ABR showed me this team he had. Oh my god, disgusting ass team. Hippo, Torn, Weavile, Pex. How you break that, bro? Weavile just traps everything from free Torn U-turns. And he had a Magnezone too. Oh my god, that team was unholy, but let me digress. Yeah, Weavile is decent. Mola and B-. Yeah, I mean, it's decent in some games, Wish Pass, but I think shit's ass. I'd never use it. Saps too much momentum. But there are times where it's really good. Like there was one game I remember I put on the ladder, I got smashed by a guy's Mola team, and he was able to pass Wishes into Heatran, which was extremely annoying because the Heatran was Z. So it was offensive Heatran, and it kept getting big Wishes back because, you know, Heatran is one of those Pokemon that is able to like wall a lot of Pokemon even with an offensive spread just because of its typing alone. So he was able to get free Wishes, so that was annoying. But in general, the Lomomola, it's whatever. Zardwai, really good in a lot of matchups, but if you play Latios and you don't have a T-Tar, or you play versus Toxapex, kind of useless. So that's my beef with it and why it's deserving of being in B-. Pokemon that are invalidated by Pex are really hard to justify using for me. Gallade, yeah, I think Gallade sucks. Seriously, I think it sucks. I mean, it's not bad because the speed and attack is good and it still has SD, so it's like it's not a bad Pokemon. People have used this thing to success too. I even had Gallade team my builder, but in general, I never feel like I want to use Gallade over Medicham or Lopunny. One's faster, one's stronger. I don't want to use the one that's in the middle. Like, sorry, bro, it's like the middle child, bro. You know how it is, bro. The parents, they love the youngest and they love the oldest the most. Sorry, middle children, those are just some facts. Sorry, but that's just how it is. So Gallade, forgotten middle child, I'd never be using him. Don't think he's worth it, bro. I'm so sorry. Garchomp Mega. Okay, I've recently been put onto this because I've been laddering with it more. I think it's good. The bulk is really appreciated. The Stone Edge is way stronger, which you really notice because Torn doesn't die to regular Chomp Edge, but it can die to Mega Chomp Edge. So yeah, the stronger Edge is really appreciated. Slower than base 100 sucks, but it's manageable. In general, the bulk has really impressed me over time, so I think it's a much more reliable stealth rocker than regular Chomp. Manaphy, ass. I don't like this mon. I don't really want to spend time explaining. Like, it can be good because it can be like, oh shit, it breaks so easy, but like, I don't know. I think it's a matchup pick, not that good. You should never see a team and be like, Manaphy's so good here. You use Manaphy as like a counter team pick, and I just don't trust it. Mega Pinsir, average, not that good to me. Too much Rotom. Yeah, sorry. Pikachu, stall pick, ass. Quagsire, stall pick. So yeah, they're both stall picks. Both are decent on stall, but they're good at being here because they're trash on every other team. To me, Slowbro regular, not bad. It's like decent, but still like it's lacking. It's not as nice as Pex or Feeny for me. And then Mega Slowbro, pretty decent, but again, it's just like Slowbro in general is like kind of outclassed by other water types. It's good sometimes, but like for what? Switching into ground moves, I guess. But in general, you'd rather want Pex most of the time, just for the sheer support of T-Spikes and Regenerator. Oh, I guess they both have regen, but Pex in general is just better for me. C+ rank. Okay, Clown in C+ is insulting as hell. Are you serious? Clown in C+? You're telling me Clown is worse than all of these in B-? No, that's wrong. Clown's better than all of them. Clown is on par with most of these, if not better than these. Clown is like with B+. Clown is B+. I don't know how Clown can be fucking C+. Clown is insane. You can get so many kills with that thing. The only bad matchup is T-Tar, and even then make some doubles. Or even sack it for Mind Blown and sweep with something else. Like, it's not a big deal. Clown is an amazing Pokemon. I'm really surprised by that. You just need to give it good support, and it can fit on a lot of teams too. It's like, it's pretty nice, man. You don't got to really stress over the set too much either, because you just run Choice or Calm Mind. It's like all of it sets to the same thing. It's not like it has like different moves it's supposed to run. You always run Mind Blown, Shadow Ball, and then like whatever, Calm Mind, Trick, whatever the shit is you want. Like, it's good though. I'm a big fan of Blacephalon. I think the coverage is amazing. I think versus some teams it goes absolutely in. A lot of times teams are running like let me go to my OU. You can see, like, look, this cart team obliterated by what's it called, Blacephalon. Like, what do I do versus Shadow Ball? Spec Shadow Ball destroys my team unless I go to AV Mag, which is such a risky play. But in general, teams are pretty unable to switch into Shadow Ball, Spec Shadow Ball. And how can they be? The only thing that can switch into that coverage is Chansey, which if you get tricked, that's a really bad. And T-Tar, which, okay, yeah, T-Tar walls, but that's one Pokemon. Everything else gets murked. Look at this, Rock Z Chomp plus Mawile. Standard ass team blown away by Blacephalon. If it's Sub CM, I mean, Sub CM is worse, but Specs destroys this team, because Pex, one Spit F drop, it's over. It rocks up, it could get dicey, you know what I mean? Yeah, Blacephalon should be in B+, if you ask me. I don't understand why it's in C+. It's pretty easy to use, too. Keld, think Keld sucks, gets walled by Pex, we'll never use it. Bisharp, it's okay. It was good in that team Bengay gave me, but I don't think it's that good. Tarak, not that good. Thundurus, not that good. Volcanion, it's like okay sometimes. It could maybe be up here, but like, actually no, but it's good here. Anyway, Blacephalon is an insult. It shouldn't be here. C rank, Agron. I was on the Agron train, but I think it's bad now. Yeah, it's not that good. It's cool, I guess, kind of dealing with Cart, but I wouldn't use it. It's just a Heat for Heat pick. So I guess now we'll go into the Heat Mons, because now we're finally getting into the Heat Mons. So I'll tell you, because a lot of these are Pokemon we've used over the time and just for fun. So I feel like I'm pretty qualified to talk on a lot of these, because I've laddered with all these shits. So Agron, end of the meta, its Heat rank would be 6 out of 10 maybe. 5 or 6 out of 10. Good at getting up rocks, good at sort of taking on Lotties and stuff like that, but in general, you'd want something else for the most part. It doesn't carry enough games to be worth it. Araquanid can be really good. As you can see, I have an Araquanid team up here. Where is it? I almost used this shit in SPL finals tiebreak somehow. This shit was whack. My CB Araquanid team, I don't know why, but it was pretty decent at the time just because the coverage was really nice. But walled by Pex and Tang, if you click Liquidation at least, is super whack. Web is really hard to keep up because Torn and Landers Defog are everywhere, and just in general, Defog is at the top of its game. So in general, Araquanid really couldn't carry its weight at all. So it's ass to me. Azumarill can be really good, judging by the matchup. Z Belly Drum is really hard to deal with because you get all the HP back. That thing's pretty good. It's good in C rank, and it's just a viable threat in general. Buzzwole, viable as well. I think this Pokemon has its way on many teams. Not many teams, sorry. On some teams. Like that one Bengay gave me. Let me pull it up. Where is that shit at? The one Ben gave me. Ben bullshit. This set is pretty cool. Sub Roost, able to sub up on stuff like non-fly, Landers T, stuff like that. Yeah, this thing can be very decent. I'm a big fan of Buzzwole. The defense is really nice as well. Pokemon that can switch into Cart and deal with it is just insane too, given the insane threat that Cart is. So yeah, I'm a fan of Buzzwole. Crawdaunt is decent. Band is decent, but it's not that good. I wouldn't really use it for the most part. Ditto, questionable. Again, I don't think it's hard to build with Ditto, so you can't really think about this Pokemon like that. It's just like whatever. Gengar was amazing like 2 years ago, but now it's nowhere to be found at all. It's crazy. I'm happy it fell off because that thing was so annoying to play against. Gengar is one of the Pokemon that's always annoying to play against, but I'm happy this thing fell off. I hate this thing, pisses me off to play versus, so I'm glad Gengar fell off. But on its viability, yeah, it's not that good anymore. Everything's faster, everything kills, everything walls. Specs is just not that good. Rise and T-Tar as well. Gren at the top, AV Mag at the top, Landers, Okos. but Heatran, I guess I can maybe deal with, but still, like, Gengar in general is just not good for the meta. Komodo, a Pokemon I'm pretty qualified on. Laddered with this shit a lot, used it in SPL to great success. I think Komodo is amazing. Seriously. I still think DD is horrible. I think DD is trash, but Stealth Rock, Clanging Scales, Close Combat Flamethrower is really nice. Problem is, Fini's been on the rise crazy. Pex also still walls you, so that is an issue, especially because those things usage is sky high. But some games, Komodo will go off crazy. It'll keep the rocks up. You'll get the Z Clanging Scales, and you'll feel like Thanos. That shit will go crazy. I'm a big fan of Komodo. I don't think it's deserving of C rank. I think it's deserving of B- or B rank. Definitely not C. Latias, trash. Mantine, trash. Mimikyu, super trash. Yeah, super trash. Moltres, trash, only good on stall. Alola Muck, trash. Sorry, I had a team with Muck that I almost used in SPL, but it was so bad. Nidoking, not bad if you ask me, not bad at all. You have to predict with your Sludge Wave, Ice Beam, Flamethrower, and all that good stuff. But in general, it's good. It's good. The coverage is great. And if you play an aggressive game and you have good team support, like good U-turns to bring it in, stuff like that, it can go off. Nidoking is really good to me. Ribombee, it's good for getting up the web and stun sporing something, but that's about it. So it's a HO pick, pretty ass on its own. Skarm, some matchups Skarm can be kind of good, but in general Skarm sucks to me. Like, Skarm's really good on stall. It's brazy on stall, but on other teams I don't really see the point. But on stall it's great, so it could even be higher just for how much it does on stall. Funty, yeah, I've used Nasty Plot Fight Z and Electrum Z a lot. It's like whatever, it's not that good. It defeats some balances, but it's pretty shitty on typing and stats defensively, so I don't like it. And now we're down to the last few. These are all pretty bad, seriously. Camerupt, again, I've used Dinhita, so it's like okay, but not really. Camerupt's canceled. It's actually probably decent right now, because there's all these like Torn, Ferrothorn, Pex type teams. So I feel like Camel could actually probably be the best at these. Dragonite, okay, so Jam's PS Live changed my mind on Dragonite a lot. That DD Fly Earthquake set seems like it has a ton of potential, so I'm gonna have to take that thing to the lab and see what I can find with it. But I don't think Dragonite is as bad as the rest of these. Crest, trash. Avalugg, stall Pokemon's only works on stall, and I think it's pretty good on the Avalugg Moltres stall personally. So I'm fine with its ranking. Could be higher just based on how well it does on stall. Golem, yeah, Golem sucks, but trapping Celestina and Heatran's cool. But it sucks. Like, it's pretty shitty as a Pokemon all around. And sometimes you don't get the trap off. And yeah, and I ran rocks on my Scarf Golem. It was only good on that Bengay team that he gave me because he gave me stall. But Golem's ass. Manectric, yeah, it can be good. Like, if you run into a team that looks like, I don't know, like this team right here. This shit could probably lose to Manectric. This one can't. This one can lose to Manectric. This one couldn't. This one could lose. You know what I mean? Like, there are some teams where it's like, ooh, Bolt Beam Fire looks crazy, you know? Like, the coverage looks crazy. And in general, it can take on Pex. It can't really take on Pex because you can't switch in and you don't Oko, which means you lose to Pex because you get Scald Burned or Toxic, installed out, etc. Fuck, man. Being a Pokemon with a super effective move versus Pex, but you still lose to Pex is like the most Sun Moon thing ever. But Manectric, yeah, it has too many limitations. Alolan Marowak, good on Trick Room, bad on everything else. Ninetales, bad. Scolipede, bad. Well, no, it's bad. And then Uxie, again, these are like HO picks. Like, these three are just like hyper offense, cheese strats. So yeah, basically these are the rankings. For the most part, I agreed with stuff. I'd say there were only like 10 or 12 Pokemon that I didn't agree with and thought could be ranked higher, because I think offensively they were way better, and maybe something else is the reason they're down there. But I enjoyed doing this video. Tell me what you guys agree with and disagree with below, and tell me if you'd be interested in seeing me do this again, / what other competitive videos you guys would want to see me do. I could do this for ORAS OU too. I think that's the other tier that I could make a great tier list for. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought below, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.